Welcome to this video. Today we're talking about electric scooters. I'll hop on now and then we'll get started nice and easy. Shoulder check, hand signal, and off we go on this wild ride. So what can we say in general? You have to be at least 14 years old. You need an electric scooter with a certificate of operation, and you need a current insurance sticker on the back. I need to check here right before left. All right, got it. The insurance sticker is valid from March 1st until the end of February the following year. Otherwise, a helmet isn't required. But I wear one for style reasons. It obviously looks great, but it also has a nice side effect. It protects your head pretty well. I don't need a driver's license either. So what else do you need to keep in mind? I already mentioned you must be at least 14. Under no circumstances can I ride with two people. Alcohol is definitely a big problem when it comes to e-scooters. Not just in accidents where we detect alcohol consumption, but also during traffic checks. What a lot of people underestimate is that strict alcohol rules apply to e-scooters, just like when driving a car. That means everyone who is not yet 21 years old has a 0.0 blood alcohol limit. No alcohol at all. And the same applies to anyone still in their probationary period. Here too, 0.0 blood alcohol. Otherwise, starting at just 0.5 blood alcohol content, you're committing an administrative offense, and you can expect at least a €500 fine plus points and a driving ban, of course. And from 1.1 blood alcohol content, you're actually committing a criminal offense. What many people also don't know is that from as low as 0.3 blood alcohol content, you can already be committing a criminal offense if you show alcohol-related impairments, and this is proven. From 0.3 blood alcohol content, it's already a criminal offense. It seems not everyone is aware of that. And another problem is, or rather, are drugs. Marijuana, coke, amphetamines, and so on and so forth. Here too, there are relatively strict limit regulations, and here as well, we found corresponding violations on e-scooters. These people are also less safe on the road. So my very clear tip, stay away from alcohol and drugs before you hop on an e-scooter, and then you can have a safe ride. All right, let's move on to the topic of turning right and turning left. We'll start with turning right. Up ahead, there's an intersection. I want to turn right there. And the problem is, I've got a throttle on my right thumb. If I give a hand signal to the right, I have to let off the throttle for a moment. So first, check over your right shoulder, really look back, give a right hand signal, check again, and then you can make the turn. And turning left is similar. Check over your left shoulder, give a left hand signal, then you can get into position here. Nothing's coming from the front. Check again, and then make a wide sweeping turn. It's that easy. Okay, let's get to the question. Where am I actually allowed to ride the electric scooter? In this standard example here, a street with sidewalks on both sides and a roadway for motor vehicles, I have to ride on the roadway together with the other vehicles and cyclists. As far to the right as possible, of course. I'm not allowed to ride on the sidewalk. Here, with this traffic sign for a separated bike and pedestrian path, as an e-scooter user, I have to use the bike path area. I also have to use this area, a shared pedestrian and bike path. The rule to keep to the right also applies here. I also have to use this designated special path for cyclists. E-scooters are allowed to ride on a bicycle street. Yes, no problem. And now let's look at some examples where I'm not allowed to ride. Here, for example, in a pedestrian zone, I'm not allowed to ride an e-scooter. Not even if you see the sign bicycles allowed here. Yes, that's right. Cyclists are allowed to enter here, but as an e-scooter rider, I'm not. I'm also not allowed to use these specially designated pedestrian paths, neither as a cyclist nor as an e-scooter rider. That should really be obvious. And with these traffic signs, pedestrian path with bicycles allowed, as an e-scooter rider, I'm still not allowed to enter. So, of course, cyclists are allowed to ride here, obviously, but e-scooters are not. If the Road Traffic Authority wanted e-scooters to be allowed here as well, there would need to be an additional traffic sign, like the one shown here, specifically e-scooters allowed. However, there's an exception with this combination of traffic signs: no entry with an additional sign bicycles allowed. Here, as an e-scooter rider, I'm allowed to enter, so both bicycles and e-scooters are permitted. But this should be understood as the only exception, and only when the bicycles allowed sign is present. Only here. And to sum up this somewhat confusing rule once again, on special paths marked pedestrian with bicycles allowed, as seen on the left, I am not allowed to enter as an e-scooter rider. But in the case of the no entry sign with the additional bicycles allowed sign on the right, I am allowed to enter as an e-scooter rider. By the way, as an e-scooter rider, I can always get off and push my scooter. Then I count as a pedestrian, and of course I can go in there like that. That means if I want to use a sidewalk or a pedestrian zone while riding, I can only do so if the additional sign e-scooters allowed is present. Yes, in many cities I can rent an electric scooter, but of course there's also the option to buy one. And I'd like to share my personal tips here. First, I would suggest choosing an electric scooter with larger tires. Larger tires make life easier in many situations, for example on cobblestone streets. That way it doesn't shake as much. With mine, I sometimes feel like I'm getting a concussion. But also, when the road is wet, I can ride through puddles more easily. It's not recommended to ride in the snow anyway. The footage you're seeing now, I only recorded on closed-off grounds just to demonstrate it. We stopped doing that pretty quickly. But even with autumn leaves, it's an advantage to have bigger tires so you don't slip as easily. There are also electric scooters with turn signals. Yes, they exist, and the advantage is I don't have to stick my hand out like I do here when turning right. That's what we're about to do now. And another quick check. So, electric scooters with turn signals. Then there are scooters with a combined brake. Combined brake means I only have one brake lever, but it operates both the front and rear wheels. And last but not least, I recommend a phone holder because, surprise, it's also forbidden to hold and use a phone while riding an electric scooter. And a phone holder here for navigation, for example, really makes life a lot easier. So those are my tips for buying an electric scooter. Well, that's it for now. I hope I was able to give you a little insight into the world of electric microvehicles and e-scooters. I wish you a safe ride at all times. I hope you make yourself highly visible. That increases your visibility. I also hope that maybe you'll wear a helmet. And a big thank you to my cameraman up front and to the German Road Safety Association for lending us the electric scooter. It's been great working with you all. See you next time. Goodbye.